Now let's dig into the character traits of your coaching client profile. So we want to make sure that we really know and understand our coaching client profile for all kinds of great reasons. Here's the traits that I found really reduce the stress, the cost, the time, the energy that you're going to spend to attract the right coaching client into your company. So we always want to start with, of course, the basic demographics. This is going to be really important as you're marketing and stuff like that, right? So there'll be, age, marital status, children, the profession, education level, even you can get as detailed as where they went to college, annual household revenue, because that's important, right? So what does the annual, like if they're married, what do they make as a family versus just what they make individually, right? So then the location where they live. So basic demographics, that'll all be detailed out in your workbook that you can, pop in what you want with that. And then another thing that I like is the fun facts, right? Because this makes it a little more fun. So like the did you know? So I want you to think in terms of, knowing things about your coaching client profile. I really, really want this profile to become your imaginary best friend, right? So it's like, and how I've aligned fun facts is something similar to myself. So it's not completely opposite, right? So if I like to watch The Bachelor, then I love it when my coaching clients also watch The Bachelor because we have something in common, right, to talk about. So things like that. So these are these fun facts. So their favorite hobbies, what books they might like and enjoy, TV shows, movies, what podcasts they listen to, if they are audio learners, what inspirational leaders do they follow, what brands do they love, what stores do they frequent, what's their favorite food, their favorite drinks, their love language, which is, are they gifts? Do they love gifts? Do they love service? Do they love, if you're not familiar with love languages, I like to use that in terms of business, but I just think of it as, instead of a love language, I think of it as like appreciation language. So how do they feel appreciated? How they feel loved? It's important that we know that about our coaching client profile because we want to be able to give that back. And if you're not familiar with love languages, you can Google it. There's quizzes that you can take to find out yours and all that kind of stuff. But we want to be able to identify that for our coaching client profile as well. And then tech savviness, as your coaching client, do they love tech? Are they early adopters of technology? Do they run away from it? We want to know that kind of level. And also their humor, their style of humor that they like. Are they more quiet and, not as, or are they super fun and they just love to laugh? What's the humor style? This is also really important for when you're writing your copy, your messaging and stuff like that as well. So are they more on the professional, conservative side of humor? Do they like bringing humor into business and all that kind of stuff? So these are just some important fun facts to think about. And then you can add additional ones as well, but these are ones to get you started. That'll be in your workbook. So, and then the third thing is, what are their core challenges? So I like you to think of 3 to 5 struggles, whether you like to call them struggles or pain points, maybe fears and feelings. Remember, feelings are really important. We want to know how they identify the feeling of their challenges they're having. And I want to know what's keeping them up at night so that I can help be the solution for that. So these are, when you're thinking of the core challenges, I want you to think of it in terms of who you are, what you do, your niche. So what challenges are they having around your niche? Not just general ones, because we're not solving general problems. We want to solve very niche problems. So think about their 3 to 5 core challenges, and we want to know that. And we know that when we want to know their core challenges because we want to know how to speak to them so that they know and they feel and they trust that we understand what they're going through. Then on the flip side, not just the core challenges, we want the 3 to 5 core desires. So I like to think of these as magic wand solutions. So these are the solutions, the feelings of what would make everything great in their world. So we know, where are they now, which is going to be the core challenges, and where do they want to be? Where are those core desires? And if they're feeling, sad, then ultimately we want to help them make them feel happy, right? So whatever those core challenges are, a lot of the times the desires are the opposite. in some cases. So I want you to think of that for your specific coaching niche and your coaching client profile. Then the next thing is we want to know their values. So what are the top 5 core values that align with your beliefs to build trust and make a bigger impact? So I just say it's easier to align their values. This is your designed coaching client profile. Let's have them match your values because it just makes that much easier, right? Versus trying to be something you're not, or them, not being aligned with you. So I've seen this time and time again in many of the companies that I've worked with, and they say one thing about their values and they do the opposite. So let's just know yours, and you're going to know that you want to attract those coaching clients that also value the same thing. And then the next character trait that we want to know is their problem-solving methods. This is where do they go to research and get solutions to the problems that they have? Do they read blogs? Are they going to newspapers? Are they reading magazines online, paper magazines? Are they listening to podcasts, if that is a thing that they like to do? Are they going to social media and asking questions or searching? And I want you to be specific in the social media. Are they using Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, or maybe a combination of the both? Are they using TikTok? Whatever type of social media. And I also want you to think in terms of all of these things on the problem solving side. Is this where you're willing to show up as well, right? If they listen to podcasts, I want you to think about having a podcast or at least being interviewed on someone else's podcast. If they're reading magazines, then it should be part of your marketing strategy to show up in the magazines that they're reading. Do you see how we are going to the ponds where the fish are that we want to do business with, right? And then other types of problem-solving methods they could do is maybe they ask for referrals. So in that case, you should have a great, fantastic referral program. They're asking people, other people, and they're referring them. So YouTube, which I know kind of can fit into social media, but I think of YouTube differently because it is the second largest search engine behind Google. So YouTube, if they're going to YouTube to find solutions to their problems and their struggles, then you should have a YouTube channel, right? So, as you're thinking about this, think about where you're willing to show up. Even if it scares you a little bit, that's okay. It's okay to be stretched outside of your limits here. That's what's going to change the course of everything with your coaching business. Are they reading books? If so, are you willing to be an author, right? Are they going to recommendation apps? Like sometimes people go to Yelp. If they do, then you should have a Yelp page, right? Are they attending conferences, going to workshops, or are they getting on webinars, masterclasses, stuff like that? So I want you to get really specific with the couple of ways that your coaching client profile solves their problems and what methods they use. They don't have to use all of them. I want you to think maybe, a couple of the top ones. And then that's where I want you to then think about pulling that through when we do your marketing strategy. Make sense? All right. And then the last 2 things is I want you to visualize your coaching client profile. I want you to give your perfect client profile a first name. And I just call it perfect client profile because that to me was the Jillian, right? And if we can get you in the range, from 40 to 60%, we are doing good. Ideally, you'll eventually get to that 80% because we're using the 80-20 rule. But I want you to give your perfect client profile a name. And a trick to do this that I did when I did a lot of these profiles for coaches and other clients is I would then take the name I would take the age of my perfect coaching client, or my profile. And I would then go and Google search or whatever type of search engine you use and type in top, might be girl names that are born in 1960 or whatever, and you'll get your list. And then you just find the one that resonates, right? So, so that to me is like a really easy, fun way to do it. And, you can refine your search for, whatever, but it just kind of was like, oh, then chances are, even though Jillian was on there, but it was like further down for me. I think the top one was obviously like Jennifer and whatever, but, it's like you find the one and then it's like even that much more possible to attract that exact name, which is pretty cool. So anyway, and then so we're going to give your person a name. And then you're going to go find a photo that represents what they look like. So I want you to find a photo that represents what they look like online. You can also use AI to generate one if you'd like. And we're going to use that photo as part of putting it in the workbook. Okay. Because then you have a visual representation, and that visualization is so powerful in all of this. All right. Okay, so up next, where do you use your coaching client profile? I'm going to share with you all the areas of your business where this will come up for you, which will also reinforce why this is so important to do this as a strategy.